Hey guys, it's Tiny Sam Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Phanteks PH-TC14PE. Now, if you can remember all of that, then you're a better man than I can, because anyway. This is a twin tower cooler, very much like other ones on the market, but there's been quite a bit of hoo-ha about this. About it may be better than the ones that are already out, so we're going to be giving this a thorough look over today. But one of the most important bits about it is the fact that it's available in different colours. You can have it in red, kind of a gold, whether you want to call it orange, but anyway, red, gold, blue and white. And obviously, because I'm a white freak, I've got the white version in. Now, it supports all the major sockets, as you would expect: 1155, 56, 1366, 755, everything from AM2 plus with AMD, so obviously that means it's going to support Bulldozer, that means it supports Llano. It's got a pair of 140mm fans, but what we're going to do is bust open the box with you on camera, take the little support bit out, and I'm going to take the heatsink out. It is actually, I'm going to remove this separate bit because then I'll be able to, that's the bits to mount it with. Now, we take the main heatsink out. Oh, there we go, I'm killing it already. Right, I'm going to zoom you in a bit for a look. Now, maybe a bit too far. The top is just bare silver, but the side fins are actually white. Now, I actually find that bit just a little bit disappointing, because on the other coolers, the red, the gold and the blue, the top matches the fins. And I would have really liked to have seen a white top. But anyway, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chuffing huge heat pipes. Those heat pipes are enormous. And I'm having a look through to see whether I can see how big they are. But to be perfectly honest with you, just by me having a look at my eyes without actually reading the specs like I should have done before making the video, they look like they're 8mm heat pipes to me, at least. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, 5 8mm heat pipes. My engineering skills have not been lost yet about being able to tell a size just by looking at it. So yeah, we have 5 8mm heat pipes. You can see the bottom there, that you can see it's white. It does look very, very NH-D14 like. When I took it out of the packet though, it did pull that little top bit off. I'm going to pop that back on. Now what I'm going to do is, we'll have the mount is 2-stage, and again it's very, very like the D14. But what I'm not going to show you how to fit it just yet. I'm going to get the fans out so we can have a look. Ooh, come on box. 1 fan. 2 fans. Now both the fans are 140mm, so it's going to be interesting to see whether we have fan issues when we try and mount them in a bit. But you get the rough idea. I'm not going to go through too much on this, but I think it's already winning me over with aesthetics. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this mounted. Oh, look at the fan, because this is the first time I've seen it as well. The fan blade bits at the back, there's only 3 prongs to them. The fans themselves have got rather thick ridges on as well, which are obviously to direct the airflow. But the fans look really nice. I'm actually quite impressed with those. I think with the other models, where you have the red, the orange and the blue, the fan blades on the inside match the colour of the heatsink. Well, I think they've all got white frames. Well, I think that all looks quite nice. I really like the idea of this 3-prong bit as well, and it's also got, the sticker on the back here is metal. It does look rather nice. But I do like this 3-prong idea. I don't know why. I think it's the first time I've seen it really. yeah, I'm quite impressed with that. Also, with these fan blades, I just noticed as well, they've got cutouts at the back. So they, there you go. Because this literally is the first time I'm having a look at this on the camera, because it's literally within the last 30 minutes arrived. So what I'm going to do now, obviously not on camera, but I'm going to have a look at the instruction manual about getting this all mounted up. But I've got to admit, these brackets and everything are all, it does have, it just feels so similar to the D14, it's unreal. Now I know where all these bits have come from, the back's broke. So yeah, it does feel very similar to the D14, and I've already had a rough look at this online anyway, and the way to mount those together is you have the back plate come through from the back with the barbs coming up through, then put some spacers on, screw the brackets down, and then you bolt it with 2 screws down. Very, very similar to the D14. So I'm not going to show you how to mount it, because it's just, to be perfectly honest with you guys, if you have trouble with mounting this cooler, then, well, you shouldn't really be building your own computer. It's that simple. But what I'm going to do is get this now mounted in the test rig. I'll bring you back when it's in. And then we'll do the initial, seeing how loud it is. I've just seen a fan speed reducer cable, so we'll run at 12 volts, and then we'll also run it on low speed, and we'll see how high this little puppy goes. I will be running, just so everybody knows, I do the tests 3 times. Each time between the tests, I remount, so we get any work out any differences. Obviously we do delta temperatures as well, so it takes out the differences with ambient, and I run at 1.25 volt, 1.35 volt, 1.45 volt should it get that high. It's 4 gigahertz, 4.2, 4.4, and we have a 90 degrees ceiling where we say if it hits 90 degrees it's kind of technically a fail really, but we'll see how far we get with this on 4.4. And yeah, let's see if this is as good as other people are saying. Right guys, I just wanted to show you the mount quickly. Basically, like I said, you push the back plate through with the threads poking through. And then you basically put 2 spacers on either side, put this plate over, and then just screw it in place. It's very, very similar to the Noctua system. It's actually probably a cross between the Noctua system and a bit like the Prelimatech one. The only thing I would say is because of the way these brackets are quite flat, they are, even though they've got edges around the back, they are a little bit flexible, and the fact that the screw tops don't feel brilliant, it feels a little bit cheaper than the Noctua mount, but at the end of the day it's on there, it was easy to fit. It's definitely better than you know, mounting stuff direct to the cooler. Yeah, like I said, it does feel a little bit on the cheaper side compared to the Noctua one, just in the sense of, you know, me trying to describe it as best I possibly can do to you. But yeah, as far as getting it on there and, you know, ease of use and everything like that, absolutely no quibbles there at all. And really, to be perfectly honest with you, if they can cut corners a little bit with the mount being a bit cheaper but still working as well and save us a bit of money, is that really a bad thing? We'll leave that to the conclusion, but it's something for you to be thinking about while I get the rest of the cooler on, because basically that goes in between the 2 coolers. So we screw that in place with the heatsink over the top. But yeah, we will be back very soon. Right then guys, luckily with the 400R that I'm using for review, the top is all mesh. Now what I want to say is the RAM that I'm using, it's 45mm tall from the base of the RAM to the top, and we've got, you know, a fair bit of gap there still. I'm trying to show you as best I can. So basically what I'm going to say is any RAM up to about 50mm in height from the very base of the RAM to the top of the heatsink should fit fine. So that's kind of a good one for you. Just make sure you go careful with your RAM choices. Obviously the Mushkin's fine. You'll be able to get Dominator GTs on these as long as you take the top of the heatsink off of the one that, if it gets anywhere near your board, it's pretty much going to be exactly the same as the D14. So if it's on the D14 support list, it will more than likely be fine with this as well. Right then, guys and girlies, this is what it looks like fitted. I really do like the look of it fitted. I do think it is a bit of a shame that the top isn't white as well, but I suppose it breaks the colours up a little bit. Even though I've got relatively short RAM, you can see that the fan on the second, or the first one, sorry, sticks out quite a bit because of the RAM. This one is pushed right down as far as it can go on the bracket, as you can kind of see down there. That's right on the fan, that's right on the screw rather, and this one's right on the RAM. Now, looking at the back, obviously I'm using the 400R. Now this fan comes out about level with the 120mm at the back. I just want to explain something to you. Some cases haven't got this bit of extra width here. Sometimes the edge of the case is right up against that fan. If it's right up against that fan on your case, then this fan may well hit your door. So you will have to go careful with your cases. Now if that is the case, it looks fine there, but it does stick out just a little bit too far. I would have thought most cases will be alright with this, but the mixture of your RAM height and this fan are going to be the difference between whether you'll get this in your case or not. You could then stick your fan on this side if you really wanted to, but this isn't something I've ever told anyone to do, is move the fan onto the other side, because then it becomes difficult for you to have your exhaust fan here. Sometimes people may have to remove this. There are ways around it, but what I would say is go for the shortest RAM that you possibly can do. So something like the Mushkin will be fine. Get this in and then see how you go. The taller the RAM is and the smaller your case is, the more likely you are to have problems. It really is going to be one of those ones where, you can ask a million questions, but there's so many different combinations and stuff, it's not really something I'm going to be able to answer every time. So it would be a case of seeing how you go, and then if it don't fit, you'd have to move the fan across to this side, because you can have the fan this side if you want. But then depending on the orientation of where your CPU is on your motherboard, because obviously they're all marginally different, you may then need to remove the back fan on your case and have this fan fitted to the heatsink, but then pushing the air out the back. I personally prefer having fan, heatsink rather than heatsink. You know what I'm going to say. But anyway, just trying to explain it to you as best as possible. But now what I'm going to do is fire the baby up. Now it is quiet, it's not loud, and they are on 12 volts. Look, I've basically just got the adapter going down, and this cable coming out the back is straight from the power supply. So it's basically just being split between the two fans. This is the cable that comes with the heatsink, and then you've got the fans. Now they're not loud at all, but they're not silent, to the point where for 140mm fans are not quiet at all. It's not as quiet as the 140mm on the Silver Arrow or the D14, I would say. These are probably making about the same sort of noise as this single 120 on the D14 each. So if we were to stop one fan, for argument's sake, if I stop that one, that middle fan is making about the same sort of noise as the 120mm on the D14. But then you add that one into it, it's obviously like having two of them. But basically it's all booted up now. I'm now going to start my testing, put the side panel on, and we'll see what the temperatures are like, because that's the most important thing at the end of the day here. So yeah, it's now time for me to get on with my testing. Right then guys and girlies, the lower temperature is the temperature you want to take note of, 25 degrees, that's the ambient temperature in the room. We can see here that prime's been running for a good while now, it's just gone 30 minutes. Now, we're actually running at 2.5 volts, 200 times 24 gigahertz. Now, temperatures. Now, this is the reason why I video everything, so that my results are kind of backed up by the video. When I took my results, I got 71, 68, 68, 67, and that gives us a 68.5 degrees average temperature across all 4 cores. Take away the 25 degree ambient temperature, and that gives us a delta temperature of 43.5 degrees. Now that's with the fans on 12 volts. I'm now going to retest with them with the fan speed adjuster in. But just to kind of throw it in there for you now, the Silver Arrow was 40.5 degrees delta. The D14 was 42 degrees delta. So basically this puts this 1.5 degrees above the D14 and a solid 3 degrees above the Silver Arrow. So by my testing at the moment, this isn't touching the top 2, which, to be perfectly honest with you, I wasn't expecting, because I heard this was better. But I'm going to drop the fan speed down now, and we'll see how it gets on in the other temperatures. But at least with the first test, it's sadly not beating the big 2. But we'll see how we get on with the low speed tests, and we'll also see how we get on when we start to crank the volts up as well. But yeah, it's time for the next stage of tests. Right then guys, 4 gigahertz low fan testing. If you have a look there, you can see that the ambient temperature is 24.7 degrees. You can see that prime's been running for ages there. We're still at 1.25 volts, setting the BIOS, and then 4 gigahertz, 200 times 20. Now if we come down to the temperatures, we can see when I took my results, because I don't take the maximum results, I take the results at the time of testing, temperatures were 74, 72, 73, 71 when I took my results, which gave us a 72.5 degrees average temperature across all 4. If you take away the 24.8 degrees ambient temperature, which I had at the time of testing, that gave us a 47.7 degrees delta temperature. So by turning the fans down, we roughly got a 4 degrees increase in temperatures, which really isn't that bad, to be perfectly honest with you. But with the fans down as they are now on the low setting, I would say that is about the noise level of the D14 and the Silver Arrow, roughly. So yeah, basically the way it's performing now is the way, you know what I mean, noise wise is the same sort of temperature, sorry, the same sort of noise levels that you'd be getting from the D14 and Silver Arrow when at 12 volts. But anyway, it's now time to move on to the 12 volt fans and 4.2 gigahertz testing. Right guys, pay attention to that 23.5 degrees at the bottom, because that's our current ambient temperature. Going to move up, basically you can see that prime's been running for ages. But we are now on to back to the fans at 12 volts. We're now at 1.35 volts, 4.2 gigahertz, that's 200 times 21. And our temperatures are, when I took my results, I had 79, 76, 74, 75, giving us an average temperature across all 4 of the cores of 76 degrees dead. With a 23.5 degrees ambient temperature, you take that away, which gives us a 52.5 degrees delta temperature. So that's that one. Now what I'm going to do is obviously drop the fan speed reducer in, and we'll rerun these tests with the fans running at low speed. Right then guys, on to 4.2 gigahertz with low fans. So we've got the fan speed reducer in. You can see that the prime has been running for a bit. You can see that we're still on 1.35 volts, 4.2 gigahertz, same as before. All I've done is fitted the fan speed reducer. Anyway, there's our temperatures. When I took my temperatures, I had 83, 82, 81, 80, which gave us an average temperature of 81.5 degrees. Take away the 23.9 degrees ambient temperature, and that gives us a 57.6 degrees delta temperature. Now, as things have been going pretty good up to this point in moment in time, I'm now going to move on to what is the most stressful test that we do with the heat sinks, which is 4.4 gigahertz at 1.45 volts. It's a massive amount of volts on this processor, and it will create a massive amount of heat. So if the Phanteks passes this test, it's definitely up with the best of the best heat sinks. But let's face it, it's not doing too badly at the moment as it is. So basically I'm going to move on and do those tests now. Right guys, you can see the ambient at the bottom there, 24.4. You can see prime's been running for ages, and there's the proof. 4.4 gigahertz, 1.45 volts, 200 times 22. This really is the torture test. Well, when I took my results, you can see the temperatures there. When I took mine, because we've just gone through a change on prime, I had 92, 92, 88, 88, giving us average temperature across the cores of 90 degrees dead. So taking away the ambient temperature of 24.4, that gives us a 65.6 degrees delta temperature. So yes, fair enough, the temperatures are high, but what we've got to bear in mind is we are literally absolutely abusing this heatsink. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, I don't normally do this, but the heat pummeling out the back of this rig at the moment is absolutely unreal. So it's definitely doing its job. But anyway, that's your results. This is the testing now complete. What's only left is for me to do a full conclusion. Right then guys, Phanteks conclusion. I'm going to tell you from the start what award I'm going to give it, and then I'll explain why, as I have been doing a lot lately. But really, to be perfectly honest with you, there is only one award I can give it, and that's a gold award. But it's not quite as clear cut as you think, because pretty much everywhere else had put the Phanteks a fair step over the D14 and the Silver Arrow. Now, I looked around, yes, but I always base my conclusions and my thoughts and everything on my testing. And the reason why I video all my testing is so that you can't argue with it. Now, the at 4 gigahertz, now these are delta temperatures, remember, which is what we want to do, because then that takes out any problems that we can have with ambient temperatures and stuff like that. Silver Arrow was 39.55, D14 was 40.2, the Phanteks was 43.5. Now, that's still, do you know what I mean? These coolers are the 3 best coolers, air coolers, single unit, do you know what I mean, on the planet, really. But I'm just telling you the temperature so that you know. 4.2 gigahertz. Silver Arrow was 49.6, D14 was 50.45, Phanteks was 52.5. Only really pulls ahead when you go up to the silly voltages. So for 4.4 gigahertz, The D14 was 67.7, but the Phanteks was 65.6, so it did pull ahead there. And I did test it a few times as well, thinking that it may have been an error, do you know what I mean? I tested it on 2 different days as well, and I was getting the same sort of test. So when it got a bit warmer, it actually got better. But the thing is that when it got warmer, it got better. The thing is your kind of sandy bridge processors and stuff really... God, that made me jump. Right, we'll try again. The sandy bridge processors really aren't going to be pushing it that hard. The 4.4 gigahertz test I do is an extreme test, and the reason why I do it is it's literally on the limits of this processor to actually be able to keep it stable and, you know, be able to run a test for that long, especially with the heat that it puts out. But it is just a test to weed out the weed out the great coolers from the good coolers. And the Phanteks definitely does go in there and join the big boys. As far as I'm concerned, you've got, if you're going to be really, really anal about temperature results, first place is still the Silver Arrow, second place is still the D14, third place is now the Phanteks, and that's for a dedicated air-based cooler. A lot of people ask me why. I've always favoured the D14 just because the mount on it's amazing, and because of the 120mm fan, it's easier with RAM options. As in, you know, once it's on there, it doesn't stick up a mile because of the RAM with 140mm. Now, with the mount on the Phanteks is very good. Having that 2-stage mount is brilliant. It's not particularly hard to fit. It does, I've got to say, the mount, you know, being picky about it, the mount does feel a little bit cheaper, but it really doesn't affect the performance or anything like that. It is, you know, the mount, it works well. To be perfectly honest with you, if we could see this on a lot of other coolers, I'd be much happier. But it does work really well. It's dead easy to fit. Obviously fits all the sockets. The ace I see with the Phanteks, I mean, yeah, you get a couple of 140mm fans with it, so you are going to have to go careful with cases, because especially with RAM, it's when this cooler, this fan, where it sticks up slightly, even if you sit it on the RAM, that's when you may get problems with it hitting the case doors and stuff like that. The R3 with this would be a bit tight. Now, like I said, it really depends on the RAM, because that fan is sat on top of the RAM. So if you have RAM that comes right up to the base of the heatsink, like Dominators, then that's going to push that fan out even further, which means you'll need a much wider case. So if you're going to be buying this, RAM choice, you have to be real careful with your RAM choice, because of then, you know, how that's then going to affect your case. So Mushkin and G-Skill Ripjaw X will be absolutely perfectly fine with this, because they're nice low RAM modules. Low profile Corsair Vengeance again will be brilliant, because it'll sit down low and it will mean you can move that fan right the way down. So it will make it a lot easier for your cases. So there's 3, you know, pretty no-brain RAM choices for you straight away, and you should be alright. Generally, what I would say is, if you've got a 120mm fan at the back of your case, no side panel fan over the CPU heatsink, then technically you should be able to fit this in, as long as you use that, like I said, that low RAM. If you don't use the low RAM, then you're probably going to have to move this fan towards the back, which then will more than likely mean that you won't be able to run an actual exhaust on the back of your case. So it does get a little bit complicated, but this is just the joys of building your own computers. And, you know, you have to basically think laterally. You can't just go, oh, it's going to fit because he said that. You've got so many other things that you've got to weigh up as well. But the price of this, I've got the cheaper one, which is the white version, which is going to be coming in around the £70 mark. So I reckon once they get to the UK, we're going to be seeing them about £70 to £75. The coloured ones, which really is the Phanteks Ace card, because they obviously do the red, blue and the orange, or the gold, however you want to put it. Red, blue and gold, we'll say. They're going to be coming in around £75 to £80. But the fact that they do colours is why I think so many people are going to be falling over themselves to buy these, because you can finally you've got a colour-coded heatsink, so you can then, well, you know, depending on the style that you're going with your rig, the design of your rig, you can buy a heatsink that will, you know, will work in with your theme. So you can see a lot of people buying these. Obviously this would look amazing in an R3, especially when they bring that window panel out. But like I said, you are going to have to go careful with your RAM choices, and obviously the case as well, because if you have bigger RAM, then you're going to need a bigger case. So I know I'm going to be getting inundated with, what about this and that? What about, you know, this RAM with this case? At the end of the day, guys, I've not got the schematics for everything. You're just going to have to use your own common noggin sense. Do you know what I mean? Don't have a little bit of a think. Is it a narrow case? Am I using taller RAM? What am I going to have to do? But if you're using something like this, I mean, do you know what I mean? If you're using that low profile Corsair Vengeance, with this, move the fan right the way down, it'll pretty much fit every case out there with 120mm fan, and you're not going to have to worry. It's only when you get, you know, those things start to get a bit bigger that you're going to have to start going careful. So it's a little bit more expensive than the D14 and the Silver Arrow. It's not quite as cool until you really start to push the volts, which, let's face it, no one's really going to be going that high for 24/7 anyway. But, like I said, the Ace card, really with this, is the colours. White, blue, red and gold. I mean, they've got it bricked, absolutely nailed. I've been saying for such a long time that if Noctua were to bring out a limited edition all white or all black cooler, then the heatsinks would, I don't think they could make them quick enough. Even if they did limited edition numbered ones or something, I don't honestly think people would be fighting each other to get them. Basically what Phanteks have done is seen that niche in the market, created a cooler that works up there with the best of the coolers. Let's face it, it's gone in the top 3 straight away, but they've given us those choices of colours as well, which is pretty much the icing on the cake. So it's not quite the performance king, because it only really pulled ahead in one test. But it is up there with the best of them, and like I said, this one has got, you know, absolutely cracking aesthetics on its side as well. So yeah, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, a solid Gold Award winner. This is an absolutely cracking cooler, and I know I'm going to be seeing these pop up all over the place, because like I said, let's face it, it does look amazing. But that's your review. For now, at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan with the Gold Award winning Phanteks, and the name is enormous. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but it's lots and lots of letters. They should have made it a bit shorter, really. But anyway, the Gold Award in Phanteks cooler, out.